In this week's EV news, MG announced a record shipment of cars into the UK. I have an important safety announcement for Tesla Model X drivers. MPs engage on another ridiculous waste of money. And do EVs really run out of charge quickly in traffic jams? Welcome back to another EV news, and thank you all so much for your response to the last video. 11,000 views, 784 likes at the time of filming this. So you definitely helped get things off the ground, I think. Let's keep the momentum going though. Click the like button, and if you're new here, subscribe as well to make sure you don't miss a thing. MG have announced a record shipment of cars into the UK. And as you know, I love talking about MG on this channel, but it doesn't have to evoke a mixed response from some of you. The number of people ranting on in the comments about Chinese this, brand heritage that, is amazing really. You'd think that people have just learned that, MG is just a brand that's now being slapped on some stuff by a Chinese company. It's not really news, is it? I think people have known that for a few years, but oh well, whatever. Great news for MG Motor UK. They've announced a record shipment of cars into the UK, and a great number of them are electric as well. MG Motor UK hopes to defy the new vehicle stock shortages being experienced across the automotive sector, with its largest ever shipment of vehicles into Bristol's Portbury Docks. The UK's fastest growing car brand this week delivered 2,892 new MGs into the UK against the backdrop of supply constraints caused by the ongoing shortage of semiconductor microchips across the globe. And over a quarter of that new delivery is made up of its newly launched MG5 Long Range, the zero emissions estate car, and the one that I talked about in a previous video when that was launched. That's great news, isn't it, for anybody that's waiting on a new MG5 Long Range. If you've ordered one, they're definitely coming thick and fast. There's a great number of them just come into the country, and I'm sure there'll be another boat on its way as well. I've heard that some dealers are actually playing a bit fast and loose with who they'll sell them to at the affinity prices. And if you don't know about that, MG offer basically a special offer for public sector workers and their family, and certain sectors where you can get a decent discount on new MG. And that means that the MG5 Long Range in the top of the range exclusive trim is available for less than 25 grand. It's 24 and a half it comes out at on the road. It's an absolute bargain that really for a 250 mile electric estate with all the toys, MG Pilot and all that stuff. And I do think there are the odd dealer out there that isn't checking too much as to who you work for and how eligible you are, and they're just banging them out for that kind of price. So have a look on Auto Trader and see how you get on, but I have heard that there's some good deals out there at the moment. MG Motor UK's commercial director said this is the biggest single shipment of MGs to arrive in the UK and positions us very strongly for September. There have been stock challenges across the car industry in recent months due to a number of external forces, so it's reassuring for both our customers and our dealer network to know that MG is in a strong position with a wide mix of vehicles available to meet market demand. And MG recorded the UK new car market's biggest volume growth last month, with registrations up 36.6% to 2,411. The result, detailed in July's SMMT registrations data, leaves MG's year-to-date registrations up by 67.5% to 16,005. And at this point in 2020, they'd registered 9,558, as its ambition to reach 130 car dealers in the UK during 2021 rose to 150. The Chinese are coming, whether you like it or not, and MG are moving from strength to strength. I'm even hearing rumours about a new ZS EV model that's coming soon, and perhaps sooner than you think as well. Nothing firm enough to present you any real details, but there's a number of test cars being spotted out and about. There'll be more news on that as I get it. Next up, an important safety announcement for Tesla Model X owners. For those of you that are unfamiliar, Tesla Model X is their big SUV model they do with some rather fancy big gull-wing doors. It's pretty cool stuff. But if you've got one of these, you might want to make sure the doors are closed before you drive off.
Is everything correct? Oh, let's go. Done you alright? Boom! Jeez!
That is a lot of damage. I hate to think how much that's going to cost to repair. I'm quite surprised he was able to drive off with the driver's door open like that. I'm sure there were alarms in the car going crazy and stuff telling them the door was open. But there's a number of modern cars won't actually let you drive off if the driver's door open. They'll just switch the transmission back into park and you won't go anywhere until you shut the door. Interesting that the Model X either doesn't do that or there's a way of overriding it. Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you've got a Tesla, can you drive it with the driver's door open? Is that normal? And how much do you think that's going to cost to put right? I mean, that's before we talk about the damage to the bus as well. Don't drive with your doors open, folks. That's my bit for public safety. Now let's talk about some more MPs doing ridiculous things. It seems to be quite a common theme on this channel now. See, last week we were talking about the climate advisor and how she definitely wouldn't be able to give up her diesel car. And this week, the government has commissioned the Royal College of Art to design an iconic electric vehicle charging point that could be introduced onto British streets from 2022 onwards. The new design is intended to turn British EV charging points into landmarks as easily identifiable as post boxes or London buses. It will be revealed in the lead up to November's COP26 Climate Summit in Glasgow. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps has given the RCA and PA Consulting the role of designing the new charger and said that the design would help raise awareness of the transition to electric vehicles. The release issued by the Department of Transport did not specify if the design will only be used for government-funded chargers or if all public EV chargers will be required to use it. Shapps said the new design would be as iconic and recognisable as the British phone box, London bus or black cab. What a load of absolute Grant Shapps, if you're watching this, which I seriously doubt you are, what we need are more chargers in more locations, not to waste a load of time and no doubt money trying to create street art from them. It's an EV charger. It's never going to be a masterpiece, is it? It's a piece of equipment to do a job. Some companies are already developing curbside chargers that disappear down into the pavement. You can't see them when they're not being used. That sounds far more like something we want to be doing than trying to turn one into the equivalent of a bloody post box. Get a grip, will ya? Uptime standards with penalties for breaching SLAs, accessibility regulations, mandatory amounts of availability and redundancy. These are the things we need to make a difference. Not putting some lipstick on that single rapid in the arse end of nowhere. What planet are these people on? Anyway, some positive news for once. There's a lot of being talked about electric cars quite a lot of the time. Some of you that watch these videos and comment on them are really good at it as well. One of the big ones is, oh, what happens if you get stuck in a traffic jam? You'll run out of power and you'll be stranded. It's not like a petrol or diesel car, which keeps burning its fuel when it's sitting and will run out at some point. Which actually did a really good job of busting this myth, which I'm quite surprised at. I saw the article about, oh, what happens if you sit in a traffic jam in your EV? And I was fully expecting this to just be a load of bollocks in the mainstream media with flawed information, feeding these stereotypes and feeding these idiots that wax on about how crap EVs are. They've actually done quite well with this one. We simulated a traffic jam in a VW ID4 electric SUV, and we had music streaming through Android Auto. I love that. I love the first thing people say, oh, you can't have the stereo on, it'll drain your battery, as if the stereo is a big power. Both front heated seats turned up to max, the aircon going, dipped headlights on, not on automatic but manually set to on, a tablet plugged into a USB socket playing a film. And here's what happened. We lost 2% of battery from the 77 kilowatt hour pack in the ID4 in 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's the equivalent of 8 miles of range. Now, I'm not quite sure why they were running the heated seats on max and the aircon on at the same time, but whatever. It shows that it's nowhere near as bad as people think. An EV will quite happily sit for long, long periods of time, and it will lose negligible amounts of power. I suspect it's actually better than a petrol or diesel car. I don't know at what rate a petrol or diesel car burns fuel when it's just sitting idling. But of course you also don't have the emissions or the horrible noise of an engine rattling away. And I know that some people will see this and they'll say, oh, well, what about the heater? Try doing it in the middle of winter. And you'd be right in thinking the heater is a bigger power draw than the air conditioning. especially in cars if they don't have heat pumps, like my MG doesn't. But the reality is you'll not have it turned up that high for long. It gets ferociously hot. And at lower levels, it doesn't use that much power at all, really. Which say they're going to repeat the test in winter, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the results. But it really is good to see some myth busting. This is the kind of stuff that the public need to see, right? Is you think that this is going to happen, well actually let's try it and let's show you what the real result is. We need to see more of that, and I do like that. But that's all we've got time for this week. Please do let me know in the comments what you think. Like this video if you made it this far, and click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let's keep things growing and keep things moving. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.